mostly sunny today. Seems like there's a lot of vehicles on the road too for whatever reason. And with that in mind, what's going on today? I guess it seems like in the US there might be a new drone act per se. This one says Gallagher introduces drone act. I did read about this before, but maybe this makes it a little bit more formal. It says here, yesterday they introduced the Drone Act, which would create comprehensive federal criminal law prohibiting the most dangerous uses of drones. Saying here, quote, drones can be useful pieces of technology for commerce and recreation, but in the hands of terrorist organizations, drug traffickers, or irresponsible operators can be a threat to our homeland security. The Drone Act would create federal guidelines to ensure this technology is used responsibly and that bad actors held accountable. So it makes me wonder if this conflicts with what's already out there per se, because a lot of things in life you don't need an extra law where if someone's doing something bad with it, they'll be punished. It says the Drone Act would create federal guidelines to ensure this technology is used responsibly and that bad actors are held accountable. I look forward to seeing this bill pass the House. This legislation would help prevent increased risk to public safety and national security that are associated with drones by creating comprehensive federal criminal law prohibiting their most dangerous uses. Oh, holy smokes. Wow, they really recognize you. Okay, talking distraction. It says here, this legislation would help prevent increased risk to public safety and national security that are associated with drones by creating comprehensive federal criminal law prohibiting their most dangerous uses. Most importantly, it would expressly prohibit attaching a weapon to a drone. I'll continue working to find balance between Nevada's growing drone industry and keeping our skies safe for all users. And then it says, as technology advances and terrorists continue to innovate, our national security must keep up. Confronting the threat of lone wolf, ISIS-inspired terrorists and those who wish to harm our communities must be a top priority. It's key to protect our homeland. So they made some points of this, I guess, quote, Drone Act, and I was thinking about it. I don't know if it would be that practical overall. It says here, prohibiting attaching a weapon to a drone, prohibiting the willful removal of drone identification numbers, and the disabling of their transmission and anti-collision lights. Subject anyone trying to get a prohibited object into a prison by the way of a drone with a 10-year prison sentence. Apply the same penalties to drone operators who knowingly or recklessly interfere with motor vehicles, boats, and spacecraft as those who knowingly or recklessly interfere with airplanes and runways. Prohibit with an up to 2-year prison sentence the reckless or knowing interference of another emergency response activity, law enforcement activity, or military operation. So that's what kind of got me thinking, for example, just with one of them where they say willfully removing things like the anti-collision lights, because with that it'd be in relations to, for example, the sensors. For example, if the drone actually has a collision sensor, I could actually see a lot of situations where people actually disable that thing. For example, I actually do it a lot of time for the drones I actually have it, where let's just say you're capturing something really close, it's around like a tree or something like that, it's a really tight space. By keeping it on, you're often confusing the drone like crazy, like, oh, I'm gonna stop here, I'm gonna move here and there because there's an object, that's what it assumes. Whereas in reality, hey, I'm right in front of the thing, I'm just capturing like this, I don't know, tree or something like that, going up and down. So I'd like to turn the thing off because it's actually safer that way too. And a real example I've seen happen in people's videos, for example, imagine them just, I don't know, floating in the air or something like that, capturing something, just a pan, and then all of a sudden something goes under it. It might be, I don't know, a bird or something like that. Because the drone then sees the object, it'll shoot straight up. So imagine if there was something above the drone, well, it crashed. Like in that case, it's safer to disable things like collision sensors, if that's what would classify, for example, with these lights anyways. And then I'm just wondering in general, because it's the same point I brought up before, where are all these regulations, for example, just kind of useless ways of saying, hey, look, we're doing something? Because people complain, for example, the hysteria is someone flying a drone, it's going to, quote, spy on me, voyeurism, but there's already laws where if someone uses it for that purpose, they will be punished. You don't need a specific law saying, because of the dangers of mirrorless cameras and the capability of the lenses, we need to make a specific law here where you get, I don't know, 10 years in prison if you use a mirrorless camera in that way. Or same thing with a smartphone, everything would be classified the same, correct? Even if someone uses a quote drone. So I don't see the purpose in that. I can just see more conflict happening in the future. I guess it kind of relates to the point of the article I read yesterday with that opinion piece on whether or not people should stop calling everything a quote drone, whereas in this case I would say it's what I expressed before, where it's more about the people that are in charge, whoever it is. You shouldn't be, I guess, making these types of decisions without thorough consultation with literally everyone per se. And I'd be questioning, why are you trying to make like rules on this subject matter if you don't have a lot of knowledge in it per se? And this was an interesting, I guess, headline at first. I was like, how is this gonna work? Apparently there's a bunch of doctors that want to ban things like fossil fuel being advertised. I was like, huh? It says Canadian doctors call for tobacco style ban on fossil fuel advertising in Canada. On behalf of the 34 Canadian health organizations representing 700,000 health workers across the country, the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment releases an open letter to the Canadian government calling for a ban on fossil fuel advertising. In 1988, Canada banned cigarette advertising primarily due to health concerns. The signatories to today's open letter are calling for a ban on fossil fuel ads for similar reasons. Today, fossil fuels threaten the lives of as many people as smoking. To protect the health of people and the planet, we must stop promoting these products, and the public must be informed about the dangers to human and environmental health they represent. So at first I was wondering, when you say fossil fuel ads, do you mean, for example, like a gas company advertising how great their, I guess, product is versus other people? Because I rarely ever see a gas station ad anyways in general. But they say here, the open letter proposes a comprehensive ban on fossil fuel advertising, including ads for gasoline, fossil fuel utilities, and gas-powered vehicles. It also calls for a robust response to tackling misleading environmental claims and for the disclosure of health risks to the public. Holy, that's really broad. For example, gas-powered vehicles you'd want banned in terms of the ads and so forth? That's a little stretching it, I would imagine, during these times anyways. The question I would have in my mind, just based on all the news I read before, like in the US, where apparently some people made decisions like, oh, I'm gonna cut off all these sources, like, I don't know, gas and all that, because they want to go full electric per se, but as it turns out, they just don't have enough power in general. Like, you can't just cut it off just like that. So that would be my question is, are people actually fully ready to transition, or will it take time? That's what I would imagine anyways. But yeah, the ad thing is like a little weird just with how many items there are that use gas per se. New ducklings. Smart, you notice the dogs there. All right, see you guys later.